Okay, thank you very much. OECD Secretary General, my friends, Matthias Corman, and ladies and gentlemen from the media, very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for all of you who joined today for our press conference of the Asia Initiative Declaration signing. Allow me to first say a few things, and then OECD Secretary General will add after my remark. As you all know, in the margin of the Indonesia G20 presidency side event, we are today, just now, very pleased to announce that there is a very important milestone have been achieved, that is in the form of the Asia Initiative. This is the Asia Initiative signing as a declaration which is very important by 10 other ASEAN jurisdictions, and also an important honor to also formalize the commitment for all these jurisdictions or countries and jurisdictions to formally committed to enhance the tax transparency, both standard and practices. On the signing today, 11 jurisdictions signed the Bali Declaration. This is providing a political impetus for the success of the Asia Initiative, a symbol of collective and regional effort in fighting against tax evasion and other illicit financial flow. The Asia Initiative is expected to fill the gap in the various levels of capacity to accelerate the use of tax transparency and exchange of information, or EOI, in that way that the Asia Initiative will also contribute to the inclusive global tax transparency. We have made one of the very important meeting in which we are all have a very strong commitment to make sure that this initiative will then strengthen our ability to continue exchange of information as well as in implementing the tax transparency standard. I'm also excited to hear from the Secretary General of the Global Forum that we plan to have this Asia Initiative since last year. So witnessing today the signing of 11 jurisdictions is definitely a progress. In the 2021 plenary meeting of the Global Transparency on Transparency and Exchange of Information for Tax Purpose, I extended my full support to the launch of this Asia Initiative, as well as the regional initiative that will have the significant impact on promoting and advancing tax transparency in ASEAN region. The development of the Asia Initiative is actually started since February this year, when the representative of ASEAN jurisdiction discussed the governance of the Asia Initiative through a hybrid meeting, which is led by Mr. Suryo Utomo, our Director General of Tax of Indonesia. The progress made in the meeting has become a very strong and solid base for our meeting today. I'm very much certain that this commitment, as well as the support from the ASEAN jurisdiction to engage in the Asia Initiative, have proven that the benefit of tax transparency is truly rewarding. In the short run, the tax transparency could help government to foster domestic resource mobilization, as well as to build a resilient recovery and to emerge from the COVID-19 pandemic catastrophic implication. In the long run, this Asia Initiative can facilitate the tax authority to fight against tax avoidance and evasion. In that regard, tax transparency plays its key role to tackle unacceptable tax practices. For Indonesia, after we implemented successfully tax amnesty program in 2016 and 17, as well as that implementation provided an opportunity for taxpayer to disclose previously unreported assets and income prior to the implementation of automatic exchange of information, which is starting in 2018 for the 2017 data. Exchange of information, the automatic exchange of information, or AEOI, has played a very important role to our tax amnesty program. The data that we receive from the automatic exchange of information scheme played an important role for, again, our successful voluntary disclosure program, which is just ended this year on June. The government of Indonesia will not stop at that effort. We will continue use the automatic exchange of information data to improve taxpayer compliance and suppress tax avoidance activity through the placement of financial asset abroad and also through illicit financial flow. Our commitment to fight against other illicit financial flow has been well manifested, and we are in the process today of being a full member of Financial Action Task Force, or FATF. In this regard, we all agree that we need to do more and more, including several other jurisdictions or more jurisdictions to join tax transparency and also exchange of information, or EOI. This is necessary to achieve an inclusive, complete global tax transparency. Inclusive, complete global tax transparency. The more and the more complete jurisdiction included in this initiative, then the loophole is becoming narrower and eliminated. We also understand that inclusive global tax transparency will allow exchange of information to be more effective in tackling tax evasion and illicit financial flow. We expect the ASEA initiative that we just signed today will contribute to inclusive tax transparency by starting from ASEA region. While the benefit of tax transparency and exchange of information for jurisdiction are evident, the challenge for implementation remain. Therefore, engagement and commitment at the political level is needed. A strong signal for jurisdiction to be allied in the global transparency community for combating tax evasion and illicit financial flow. In most cases, implementation of tax transparency requires a profound administrative reform. So signing ceremony is one thing, but we have to also promote and strengthening the administrative and technical capacity. Administrative reform definitely is one important ingredient. This kind of challenge need to be also addressed, and I'm glad during our meeting of all these jurisdictions with the OECD as well as international organizations like ADB, they are all really have a strong commitment to support technical assistance for all countries needed. The type of challenge that we are now facing will then need to be addressed through international tax cooperation. So Bali Declaration, which is just signed, is a good start for this collective commitment and effort. We also understand that the maturity of the tax transparency implementation and exchange of information implementation among ASEAN country and jurisdiction varies. Consequently, developing capacity and technical assistance to be able to accelerate the use of tax transparency and exchange of information are becoming so critical and crucial. The ASIA initiative also support the implementation of tax transparency and exchange of information for tax purposes, and emphasizing the importance of having effective organizational structure within the tax administrator to be able to implement the exchange of information standard. This organizational structure will be in charge to develop both the policy and technical aspect to address complications that emerge in the implementation of the exchange of information standard. The support team that provided ASIA initiative will work closely with the unit in charge regarding technical aspect of the implementation of the standard. With this kind of cooperation, we do hope that this declaration will then be translated into effective and credible action. So again, I would like to, of course, support strongly this ASIA initiative. And of course, the responsibility of this initiative is really, really big and important. We also very, very encouraged to see the shared commitment of the ASEAN jurisdiction and all members who's already signing the ASIA initiative, which is being displayed just a moment ago. So for me, this is really a very good result for the G20 side event meetings, which is complementing our presidency agenda. One of the most important on the finance track is to continue strengthening the global taxation cooperation and reform. The goal for all of us is not easy, especially when the world, after 2 years facing with pandemic and now facing with the global geopolitical spillover, is certainly a very, very challenging task for all of us. But with the spirit of cooperation, as well as the strong multilateralism spirit of collaboration, I'm very optimistic that we will be able to continue improve our tax performance for the benefit of each country and its own people. To wrap up, I do expect that this ASIA initiative will become a forum that will improve tax transparency in a credible and effective way using exchange of information. And with that, we will make a significant contribution to the sustainable domestic resource mobilization effort in ASIA. Thank you, and over to you, Matthias. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Shri, and thank you in particular for your personal strong and effective leadership in bringing the Asia initiative to fruition. By signing the Asia Initiative's Bali Declaration today, ministers representing 11 countries and jurisdictions committed to strengthening tax transparency and exchange of information in Asia. And this important initiative is designed to boost regional cooperation, tax transparency, and the exchange of information in order to better combat tax evasion and other illicit financial flows. Importantly, the Asia Initiative is open to all Asian jurisdictions. We hope and expect that more countries across Asia will choose to follow the lead of those 11 initial signatories. The OECD, together with the G20, has been supporting improved international tax transparency for many years, and we would argue with some success. Indeed, our work has helped secure some tangible results. More than $112 billion US of additional revenue has been identified by countries through voluntary disclosure programs and offshore tax investigations since the beginning of this forum in 2009. And almost 1/3 of that additional revenue, or about $30 billion US, was for developing countries. That said, international tax evasion continues to be a significant challenge for governments all around the world, including across Asia. It is estimated that more than $1.2 trillion US of financial wealth in Asia is held offshore, resulting in revenue losses of more than $25 billion US every year. Money which could be deployed by governments across Asia for the benefit of the people across Asia. Through the Asia Initiative and the signing of the Bali Declaration today, signatory countries are making a clear political commitment that they will provide the resources needed to tackle tax evasion. Similar regional initiatives in other parts of the world have already achieved tangible outcomes by tailoring solutions to the specific issues and challenges of a region. Cooperation between tax administrations, which this initiative will further strengthen, will help protect the integrity of tax systems. And together with the Ministerial Symposium on Tax and Development, also held here in Bali today, it shows that the G20 is committed to ensuring developing countries can benefit from international tax rules. The OECD is also working with the G20 to prepare a new roadmap to strengthen the tax and development agenda for the coming years. The benefit of the implementation of the tax transparency standards is enormous, especially when combined with progress on addressing multinationals' tax avoidance through the OECD G20 inclusive framework on bias erosion and profit shifting, and the two-pillar solution to address the tax challenges arising from the digitalization of the economy. This work will help mobilize important additional resources to facilitate a stronger, more sustainable, fairer post-COVID recovery. So in conclusion, to Indonesia's Minister for Finance, Sri Mulyani, thank you again for your personal leadership in bringing us to this point today and for the leading role that you have played for many years in promoting this important tax transparency and development agenda all around the world, including and in particular across Asia. So thank you, and it's a great day for the OECD and for Indonesia and for tax transparency across Asia. So I think that you'll be following. All right. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Put my mask back on. Yeah.